Fearless Love, an homage to Santana, if you will. Right. Fearless Love came by around 84, 85. Again, when my girlfriend had split. It was we were right on the way to being married. We really thought of each other as married. But at any rate, she decided, she just committed to me, and she was too young. So yeah, for months there, I was a lot of emotional energy going on. And I was playing, living in Santa Ana, and I was playing this club in Irvine, and I think it was just, this waitress and I were kind of, eyeing each other, sort of. I'd been playing there a few days. And her boyfriend, which she wasn't all that happy about, came by and he played some guitar and he says, "Hey, can I play you a song? I wrote this song." And he started playing the song, and it was the chord changes to Evil Ways. It was kind of the same tempo, and it was just like Evil Ways with a melody or different quasi-melody, different words kind of thing. But it was that two minor, that minor, and then going to the two, in the same minor seventh, kind of jazzy thing. And when I saw him play that, I thought, well, I can do that. With those chords, the Santana thing, I can write a Santana song, and it'll just be my Santana song. Yeah, it sounds like Santana. Yeah, I meant it. I wanted to get that thing that they're so cool at, And so I wrote it. The lyrics just, there's, because it's just a groove. So the funny thing is that the first set of lyrics and the second verse are probably rewrites of the first verse. I think I wrote the first verse and I thought, I could rewrite that. And so I rewrote it again, and for some reason that became the second verse of the song. So they're kind of sort of the same verse. And then I wanted to go to like a relative minor and get a different attitude going, get away from the Santana thing maybe a little bit, or not, or just melodically shift it. So I added that change, and then came the video. That was, I wrote it and just had it around. It was easy to play, but the lyrics were kind of the same, even though I really liked the lyrics. So I didn't play that often until I hit the Casey stretch in the 90s, where it was singer-songwriter, and I would always shoot to play at least 2, if not 3, and sometimes 4 full sets of original material. And so woke that song up and threw that thing in the mix, because it was pretty straight ahead to play. Yeah, it was a Santana thing, but it was an homage to Santana, so what the hey, play it. But it was always missing that quintessential Santana thing of the percussion going, while the other guitar players are playing their regular 4 stuff, or 8th notes, and occasional 16th, but you have this percussion going 16th, 30 seconds over the top. Woo! And it lightens it up. And so it was one of those places that I applied the Gibson Hummingbird technique to. And it really worked. And again, this was one of those things where I was driving along, or I think I was a passenger again. Seems like I remember just sitting and imagining the tune, and then thinking, wait a minute, I could get Richie Havens to come over and play some guitar. Which I could say it was easy. It's just, I'm an excellent rhythm guitar player. but yeah, took a lot of work, and you get pick, to keep the pick in your hands as you're going, is the trick, because the pick is just good. And there's a lot of up stuff, and this, so I practiced. Yeah. I practiced plenty, playing it fast. I wouldn't try to play that fast and sing it. It had to be something else. I would probably sound like I was in a blender. I don't know how Havens did it. He's just that singular talent. So, and when I played it over that, it was like, bing! It was the last little Santana piecey thing that needed to go on there. 16th and 30 seconds, and boom! All of a sudden, the song just kind of went, wow. But I had done the video for it in the 90s, and that video is the hardest video I have yet to work on, and it was intended to be the easiest video ever, because I just wanted to knock it out. The song itself, I didn't have a lot invested in it, because it was so Santana-y thingy that I thought, well, yeah, maybe I could do this. So the original concept of the video was to have four guys sitting in a room playing like they were rehearsing, and they were going to go through a top to bottom rehearsal. It's like one of those, okay, nobody stops even if you make a mistake. Keep going as if we have an audience. Okay, so no stopping. And then you play it through, and to capture one of those, like in the living room of the band, playing. That was the original intent. I thought I could do that, like boom, 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 boom. I don't know what happened. I think I was reading like blue screen stuff, reading articles on blue screening. And so I thought, I'll do that. I will shoot everything behind blue screen, and then I'll make whatever room I want those guys to be in the cyber world. And then another committee meeting of one happens, and someone says, how about a stadium? Put him in a stadium. Well, yeah, I'll shoot it blue screen and put him in a stadium. And then someone else in the committee says, how about we put the stadium like on a planet? And how about if this planet is like a little planetoid, and it goes out into it's like out in the space. So you have the band inside the stadium on this planetoid that's drifting through space. Oh, okay, let's do that instead. And it never got done. I could say it broke me, but I think I was no more busted up than I ever have been through that process. But it definitely took. The year was 1995, and I was just done working at US West. And I had this apartment, and I had this money, and I bought some software for like $5,000 for this software program to run on these Macs. And of course I had best Macs I could get my hands on. I had a pair of them. I think it was 7100 at that time. I proceeded to learn this $5,000 program on this top of the line Mac, and I didn't have to worry about rent or I didn't have to worry about money, because I put away all the money I had made working for US West, or virtually all. And I was single. I had just kind of split the sheets with another wife/girlfriend living, and so there was just me and then this money I made from this job, which, by the way, this person that had gone on to live in Phoenix, it was her job, and I took it over when she left for Phoenix. And the plan was that I would do the job for a while, and then they would replace me, and I would go on to be with her in Phoenix. But all right, so what was? So this 3D. So the year 1995, from March to about the summer of '96, all I did was stay in my apartment in Billings, Montana, and learn 3D, practice 3D, and I did a quick little clip of just some quick stuff, which ended up getting me a job teaching multimedia when they saw that clip. But the other thing I worked on was the video for Fearless Love. I shot the video of the band in the basement of the house that I lived in on Wyoming and Wyoming Street. And so when we split up, I stayed behind to sell that house, and I had a couple of months, just me in the house. And it was mostly during that time, but also it was time we were together there for a while too, while I was filming some of that. I built a green screen studio in the basement, not too far from my audio studio, and I shot in there. It was very low ceiling, but it was right in the middle, and right to the end of the shooting, I used an 8100, and I shot directly to the 8100 instead of capturing it to videotape like I had done most of the other. And wouldn't you know it, as a consequence, I lost track of that footage. I didn't have it in tape. I couldn't redigitize it. I had gone directly to Drive to just get that little bit more resolution, and somehow or another, that 8100 was always a pain in the butt. Possible to get inside and out of it. It was just sharpy, metally kind of thing to deal with. And it acted up quite a bit. But I was at the time, working as a systems analyst at US West, and that's all I did. It really was sort out problems with Macintoshes, and so I did that. Kept it running. But in the middle of all that, I got a 7100, and then I even had a second 7100, and moving and all. Moving the data, and then also moving myself from. I went from that house, and I lived with a friend who literally lived 4 blocks away on the same street. I moved in with her for a couple of months, and then she kicked me out of there. And so I got an apartment near US West. And so through all of that, somehow or another, I lost touch. I just lost the footage. This is the very end footage of the lead guitar player playing his solo and out. Out. And so that's why I filled him in with that sound, that iTunes screensaver kind of thing. I filled him in from that because it's really footage of me playing guitar and other parts of the video, other takes and stuff. But I needed him to look like he was doing something, and filled him in. And then at this point, 2018, this was all like 1995. And, at 6, and I fiddled with, I went through the whole thing, learned Lightwave. I went from Electric Image to a pared down version of Electric Image that was a little easier on a computer. And I had like 2 copies of that and sold 1 copy. And the Electric Image was good to me. They actually gave me back some of the money. I said, hey, because they came out with that smaller version just after I bought the big version, and I said, hey, why did you tell me you were coming out with? All I need was that smaller version. Anyhow, I'm not doing this for the screen. And they said, "Oh, well, I'll tell you what, we'll trade you, give us back the big version, and we'll trade you two of these little versions." They call them broadcasts, and we're done for like TV resolution, 720 or 640 or something. 1995. And so then I had them both, and then sold one and had $2,500 to, I could feed in and rent and food and gas and all of that, and stayed working with the 3D. I did not have the aptitude that I thought I would have for 3D production. I thought it would come to me like music. Not that I don't work hard with music. It's not like I'm Mozart or something and stuff just pops up. I bet Mozart worked a little harder than people give him credit for it. And, it wasn't all, oh, it's coming out of my brain, I better write it down. I didn't think it was quite like that at all. It certainly isn't like that for me. I can speak for. So, but I progressed, and I progressed enough to kind of keep me chewing on it. Electric Image was hardly an intuitive program to work with. It was really kind of a pain. I like the output. I like the look of the output, but and then I thought maybe I should do this in Lightwave, and then Lightwave, and then I bought a Windows machine just to do Lightwave because I wanted to do Lightwave, and recreated it really in Lightwave, and I got a little further along in Lightwave because I thought, sure, well, it's the program that's slowing me down. It's not my attitude, unworkable attitude. No, I think my attitude was right. I was still functioning at a high level of ineptitude, but it was counting on it to come natural and being a little surprised that it didn't come quite as natural as I thought. I kept thinking I should have listened up in math class, When you start working in 3D space, the math just kind of comes at you, especially back then. And you get all the math you can deal with. If you want to write, scripts to deal with the math, there you go. But I can't, I'm too dyslexic to deal with it at that level. So I needed to work with, a proxy that would do the math and then let me, simply move the figures. And Lightwave was showing me much more potential for that. So I did with, Lightwave. So this video for Fearless Love got a little better, and then I timed it out and, added some things. But the song itself was always like this lackluster kind of, it was just like, okay. And then finally I added Frank Gibson's hummingbird. The guitar is not a hummingbird. My technique on this guitar I call it a hummingbird. Add the hummingbird to it. And so the guitar is not structured very far from a hummingbird, but it's a different model. It's a Western, I think they called it. And then Sheryl Crow played it for a while. Then I think it was reissued as the Sheryl Crow model. Straight up Gibson guitar. Chunky sound and raspy, especially with the light strength, play quiet and really mic it in. It has in its range, it has a lot of character. So when I added that, all of a sudden I got Santana's kind of percussion. And so now here in 2018, in March, I'm thinking, okay, I should add me at this age playing acoustic guitar that I just added. So Kate and I are thinking of moving. She's interviewing for a job probably exactly as I'm, right now she is in Arizona, Sedona, to be exact. That's Arizona. Interviewing for a job. So, depending on where we land, hopefully I'll have enough room and I will move my studio there and then shoot some green or blue screen and then shoot my current self playing acoustic guitar with that 4-piece band that was shot in 94, 95. The song, unlike Teach Only Love and Give Me Space, which are some of the songs I worked on in the 90s, unlike those songs, this was done in full sequence and it was brought over and it's fully, available to me to edit. It's not a locked-in 2-track thing like Teach Only Love on the same set. I think is going to end up being that. Adding that guitar into it. So that's the plan at this point. We land somewhere. We'll have another home, and I'll have a space for a studio, and I'll set it up green or blue screen, and I'll add myself playing. So it'll be 2018 meet 1995 and blended. That's the plan for Fearless Love. I think I should leave it at that. I can see the batteries on some of the playback monitors are down low, and I'm pretty worn. I wasn't expecting the output today, but I'm glad I took the time to do it. Worst case scenario, this is rehearsal, and I'll go through this again in another take in case my focus is just unusable or my sound is unusable. Or my demeanor, or I want to say less or more. I'm thinking maybe I can slice and dice, maybe 2 years from now or something, or a year from now, cut something and say, oh yeah, by the way, about that song, I wanted to say that. Right now, I'm pretty much took the time. Yeah, but keys, that's the way the cookie crumbles. I'll have to think of some original thing. Be a better earthling.